Hey guys and girls, welcome to yet another one of these types of videos. Whether you watched the first and enjoyed, or this will be the first you stumbled into, welcome. First off, I want to preference this video off by saying I was given a review code for this one from NISA, and I want to thank them for it, like from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot that my channel's kind of been acknowledged enough to do this for you guys, and it's all thanks to you guys, so I thank you and I appreciate it. Links are in the description if you guys want to check out The Lost Child, maybe pick it up yourself, and you know, overall gauge your own opinions. But anyway, let's get into the review.
Open the case! That gun is called the Gangor. It's a demon gun that captures and uses astrals. Go get it!
The Lost Child sets you in the world of Hayato, a young journalist for an occult newspaper known as Lost. As he is in the process of a mysterious ghost sighting, he is saved by a mysterious woman and given a case and the cryptic warning to live. Thus spawns a mysterious premise poorly executed, pulling Hayato into a world that doesn't make any sense for him to be in. As you meet the angel Lua, who eventually becomes his assistant, you journey around prominent areas such as Shinjuku, Akihabara, and more as you fight to protect the world's spirit towers, for better lack of the word, from the Dark Lord himself, Cthulhu. Now, what to say about this game's story personally? I don't hate it in the slightest, but the game sets you in a world that feels off for the protagonist, and you're given no basis for a majority of the game as to why it has to be this guy. It feels forced and totally out of nowhere. I found myself saying, why him? If it just had to be a believer of supernatural, why not the boss? Scratch that, Hayato doesn't even seem to be a believer by some of the dialogue majority of the time. And a majority of the quests turn into just trying to make your quota. I will say it's only for about 50% of the game where it felt like this to me, though half the game feeling out of place doesn't bode well in the grand scheme of things. But now let's talk about the world itself. The world you explore with Lua takes you to many different areas, from Shinjuku, Minakami, to a special area called the Riley Road. As you train your groups of demons and angels and prepare for the worst, the world feels ever large, and there's a lot to see, but they're littered with NPCs that feel stale and don't add that much to the world itself, other than that once in a while quest that has you talking to them. I found myself not caring to do anything else with them, but that's really it. And when that's all you have to say about the world design itself, it doesn't hit marks pretty well. I will say the areas are well drawn and well, like, each of these landmarked areas feel like their respective areas. As far as the art is amazing. I enjoyed a lot of what I was looking at as far as the city itself. But anyway, let's get into the characters. The game is populated with a variety of characters that help Hayato on his journey as the Chosen, from the old cameraman that can appraise weapons for you to the cyber monk who's able to evolve demons you capture to another transformation. At certain levels, adding an amazingly designed group of characters with next to no amount of well thought out stories for them. I found that they looked more interesting than some of the bosses I was running into, and even some of the angels, and they do next to nothing other than sell you goods. It felt like a really bad missed opportunity for some characters. For example, spoiler alert, I guess, if you haven't been watching my playthrough that's going on, you definitely should, but essentially, one of the angels that is with Michael, one of the archangels, looks like your everyday ice cream man. It really doesn't bring much of a grandness to him. And then when you look at the item shop owner, he looks more mysterious, more demon-like. And you do manage to find out a little bit about each character, but not to the extent where it bodes an interesting outcome out of them, which I felt was just kind of not the greatest way to go about it when you compare it to something like Demon Gaze, finding out stuff with the owner of the inn, as well as other things that I won't spoil. But anyway, on that account, let's get into, I guess, the game's dungeons a little bit. The game's dungeons are explained somewhat early on. They're called layers, underground areas where demons prowl, where for some reason God, the Almighty, can't see these areas that are clearly on Earth, just under it, essentially. Not even like in a demon world. It's essentially like, from my knowledge, in a depth of the Earth, in a sense. I guess you could argue that they put up like barriers or something of the like, but I have a hard time believing God can't see things that are going on his planet itself that he created. I don't know. That's just me. The dungeons themselves feel bland. They feel really like standard of the standard as far as design wise, as far as puzzle wise. You start to actually feel a little bit more thought out puzzles for each dungeon when you get to the later half of the game. But when you have some dungeons where basically you're just having to spell the area you're in, it's not a good implementation, in my opinion. And yes, that's one of the dungeons early on. You basically have to spell the name of the area you're in, aka Shinjuku, aka Minakami, something like that. It's just, it feels totally wrong to do so like that, and it was babyish, in my opinion. But I kind of let it slide. I feel like it's definitely a markdown, though, in that regard. But I digress. Anyway, into the combat itself. The combat of the game is standard for dungeon crawlers. You take turns planning your moves as you attack the enemy you come across. What this game adds, though, to the style itself is the power to capture the enemies you encounter with the Gangor, the blaster of the Chosen One, as you wait till a bar is filled up at the top of the screen before shooting a demon with it to ultimately turn it to your side, which then you can use in battle. Truthfully, this mechanic is neat. It definitely adds an extra point toward this game. I did find myself drawn into what demons I could find, but sadly most of the demons design were not fully something that I wanted to capture. I felt like maybe whoever designed the characters that were in Hayato's circle didn't design the demons or something. Like, it felt like the demons actual, like, these monsters that you were supposed to capture were some of the most average looking things that I've ever seen. And then when you go to like the item shop, you're dealing with a very cool looking evil, possibly just creepy elf man or a cyber monk. Like, where did that guy go? I just don't understand. It's essentially the Pokemon mechanic. You weaken it, you capture it. But in this case, you just build a bar and then you capture it. So you don't even have to weaken it. You just build the bar up, and it seems to be almost always a 100% capture rate. I've never had it fail for the most part. If you do build the bar too far, though, you lose a turn of actually being able to capture a demon. So you do have to watch how far you build it. I never had that problem, though, unless I didn't want to capture a demon, essentially. It just kind of took away from the overall aesthetic of it, I guess. Getting into the leveling of it, each demon and or angel you capture levels by a system called Karma, which I want to say wasn't told to you early on, as you begin to get it like immediately as you start the game. Karma essentially boils down to three things. There are three types of karma, essentially, that you can collect. Let's call them law, chaos, and neutral. Depending on Hayato's statements during cutscenes, during story moments, you gain between each character. Each of the karmas is also obtained from fighting specific monsters. Angels give you neutral to law, demons chaos, and so on. So you hit a cap where then you are able to evolve your demons to the next level. I always love the evolution system in games. As a fan of RPGs like Vandal Heart and stuff like that, where you kind of evolve and then your character changes its look. It's something that I really enjoy, and I like that they put it into this. That was a definite plus. But then they backpedal in this game's case. A lot of the middle ground evolutions for these demons you capture were just recolored versions of the demons. So say a demon was red, he turns yellow. It really kind of stales you on it. You don't get an interesting demon until you max them out, and then you get them to their full forms, and then they seem to look kind of cool. So it goes back again to the point where I'm like, maybe this art designer took a day off and then they did their thing, and then he came back and did the third forms. It feels like two different types of things, and it didn't mesh well, in my opinion. It also didn't help that essentially I didn't feel the need to capture demons in this game. I've played through probably I want to say 60 to 70% of the game, and I have not used one other demon, I think, at all. Actually, I might have used them during grinding sessions, but I haven't used a demon as far as story goes, aside from the ones that I've gotten in the beginning of the story. Which, mind you, one of the demons I got from Lucifer, which it is a character that you don't actually get to learn about till later, who apparently shows up like midway through the, like not even midway, he shows up like around the beginning at whenever he wants to break the fourth wall and give you things to help you on your journey. He actually gave me Enoch, which was a demon I was using, who's like a super powered demon in my opinion, who basically I just over leveled and I'm able to destroy like everything with. But and don't get me wrong, I enjoy that. I like it as a player, but when you're matching this up to other dungeon crawlers, when they're just giving you demons that you can overbulk, it doesn't add to the overarching experience of the game. It doesn't let this game match up with games like Demon Gaze and games like Operation Abyss that add like a super hard difficulty and make you train up these characters to the fullest, and actually need to train up and use different characters to help you out through the story, which is just insane. I feel like it was a total misstep. The idea was interesting, but it was a total misstep to have the demons level a different way than your actual characters, and it just kind of broke the game for me. Overall, The Lost Child feels like an above average attempt to shake up the dungeon crawling genre, but ultimately fails on a lot of aspects. It leads you into an interesting enough story to keep you playing, fun mechanics in your head, but not implemented the best way when put into practice, making my full score for this one a 6 out of 10. I want to preference with my rating system that above average is still worth checking out at least once. This sets a solid, well-off beginning look at dungeon crawlers, but it feels like all the rest, essentially. I definitely look into purchasing this one when it comes on sale. The good thing about NISA is a lot of their games eventually hit sale mark pretty quickly, so I wouldn't hold your breath on having to wait for too long for this one to drop. But anyway, guys, leave a like if you enjoyed this review. I really put a lot into this, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments below if you guys are playing it, if you enjoy it as I don't want to say as well, if you enjoy it more than me, or if you felt some dissatisfaction as much as I did. I don't hate the game. I do recommend it. I just recommend it's a game that you buy when it's on sale. It's not something that breaks ground whatsoever, but it does have a solid dungeon crawler arc, and at the very least, you're gonna find a good way to waste time on this one. If I'm honest though, there is a lot of other games that I can name dungeon crawler wise that are slightly up there as opposed to this one. If you're just getting into dungeon crawlers, this is definitely the one to go to. It has a nice curve where casuals can jump in and really take to it. But anyway, guys, if you guys want to see a more in-depth look on my thoughts as I play along, I am doing a let's play of it right now. Go check that out if you haven't already. It's a fun watch. Watch me goof around and mess around in the game. Anyway, guys, I will see you all next time. Bye bye.